It's Christy with the Chirp YouTube channel. Welcome back. It's been a while. Since it has been a while, I wanted to do a little introduction to Christy today. Not so much on a personal level, but on a professional level. Because I have given you lots of suggestions on this YouTube channel over the years. And I'm sorry, I'm getting used to a new chair and a new area of filming in a new house, in a new state, in a new year. I don't think I've done a video in 2022 yet. So this is the first for lots of reasons. And it's very awkward to get in front of the camera again. Sorry, I'm moving it around now. It's very awkward to get in front of the camera again after having not filmed for a long time. It just feels awkward, and it'll take me a little while to get back into my groove. So what I'm going to start with is, why do I have this YouTube channel? And why would I ever think that anyone would care what I have to say about kids with developmental diagnoses or differences? Well, the reason behind that is that I am a speech-language pathologist. I specialize in children with developmental delays and disorders. And although I know I look like a baby, my skin's so smooth and fresh with no wrinkles at all, I actually have been doing this for 20 plus years. I know it's shocking, but it is true. I have been doing this job for a long time, and I have therefore gathered lots of experience and lots of stories from what has worked for the kids that I've worked with. You know what I realized? I need a light on that side of me. This side of my face is too dark. Hold on, I'll be right back. Better, but now I do have some glare. We're really gonna have to get used to this new filming arrangement. I'll keep trying. As I'm talking, try not to notice the glare. It may be too much for you. You may just have to tune out. So, I told you, I've been doing the job of a speech-language pathologist for 20 plus years. Now, in order to become a speech-language pathologist, there's a whole series of hoops a person must jump through. The first one is, you have to get a bachelor's degree. Many people have a bachelor's degree. I had a bachelor's degree as well. And after that, the next hoop is that you need to get a master's degree in communication sciences. Communication sciences includes audiology and speech-language pathology. And you start out the path the same way. So the first year of my master's degree program, which was in fact 3 years for me of full-time school, where I went, which was Arizona State University. My undergraduate was from the University of Minnesota. My 2 master's degrees were both from Arizona State University because I lived in Arizona at the time for 25 years, in fact, and just recently moved back to my home state of Minnesota, which is where I am right now. Yay! The first year of the program is audiology and speech-language pathology together, because speech and hearing are so intricately connected that you really need to understand the basics of both, and in fact a little bit more than the basics. So then the second year does a little bit more dividing, and the 2 specialties kind of go their own ways after that. Then in the third year we did rotations, which meant that I was out doing things in the community as well as in the clinic on campus. One of my rotations was, of course, in a school, because most speech-language pathologists work with kids. And then, did I do 3? Yes. So one of my rotations was in a public school, one was in a preschool, and one was in a hospital / recovery center for patients, most of whom had strokes. and they were all very interesting and very difficult for various reasons. But I found out that I loved kids. I did not really know that before. And I did not realize how challenging and sad it is to work for me with patients who'd had strokes. Trying to get them to be able to swallow properly, trying to get them to be able to communicate effectively. When a part of your brain is physically damaged, it's very, very difficult to work around the areas that have been damaged. And in many cases, we're working on compensatory strategies. We're not working on actually regaining lost skills. Whereas with kids, even teaching a child with significant challenges due to autism, even teaching that child how to hand a picture to an adult, that could change a child's life to be able to communicate. Even if it isn't verbally, that's still communication, and that's life-changing. And I found that extremely rewarding. So after I graduated with my second master's degree, which was in communication sciences with a specialty in speech-language pathology, I worked, my cat has decided to start crying, of course, now that I'm filming. I got a job in a public school district. I worked in that district for 1 year, and then I worked in a different district in the same Phoenix metro area for 2 years, both in elementary and preschool. And in the second district, I also worked with junior high and high school for a little while. So I got a wide spectrum of experience there. And then I also worked in a private school at the time. No, it wasn't a private school. It was a charter school, I believe. And then I got some clients through a clinic. So I worked in a speech pathology clinic. And after that, for 7 years, I worked in families' homes, reimbursed by the government and by insurance. I worked in families' homes, not only helping the kids to communicate better, but helping the families to understand how to support their children's development. During that time, actually starting right away after I finished my graduate school, I also started running special needs programming in my local church, which was really incredible because, of course, we get kids from all different backgrounds, all different ages. Their families are in all sorts of different circumstances. So it's really super interesting and also helpful for the families to get a time out, to be able to go to church, to be able to get away from their kids for a little while. Sometimes state and local and national programming can cover some respite time for families. Sometimes not. Sometimes that respite care is used for other purposes, and so families really, really need a break. And it was great to be able to provide that in our local church. And so I've been doing special needs ministry programming in churches, 3 different churches now, for 21 years, I guess. And this gives me a wide range of experience. My husband just shouted down the stairs. We both work at home now, from home, I should say. It's very interesting to get used to the dynamics that COVID has brought upon us. I hope you're okay with the casual nature of this video. I thought we might just be friendly because I've been gone so long and it's awkward to come back. I just needed to make it a little bit casual. I still have the books behind me. I'm thinking I might do some test videos with different backgrounds, different window placement, so that I can see which lighting is the best. So trust me, I'll keep experimenting and we'll probably get better. Where I was going with that last story was that I have a really wide base of experience. Most of the kids I worked with had limited verbal skills. Most of the kids I work with have very challenging behaviors. And most of the kids I work with ended up having some kind of developmental diagnosis. I prefer, if I take on private clients, to start with them when they're very young, because we can establish good routines, because parents can really get in there and help these kids to learn good habits very early. And because in many cases it's easier for kids to learn when they start out early. There's kind of a learning burst that happens when kids are very young. That doesn't mean that there's a block or any time when kids can't learn, after which kids can't learn, but it can become more difficult, especially if certain habits have been kind of ingrained. I like it when kids are not yet verbal or are minimally verbal, because that's when we are able to really change their whole trajectory by just teaching them a few very important skills, and then the other skills kind of stack on top of those initial skills. That's my story. That's how I got to where I am today. But it is missing one little piece. And that little piece is that when I was doing special needs ministry in churches, I realized that church curricula are pretty terrible from an educational standpoint. Church lessons are written by church people, but they're not written by educators, especially not people who are specialists in early childhood language communication development. And that's really important, because we do, of course, want our kids to understand what we're teaching them. Don't you believe that's important? I do. I don't want to have a whole lesson planned out and then none of the kids can have access to it because it doesn't make sense to them, because it's too long, because it's too wordy, because it is talking about a topic that's way beyond their cognitive ability. It's important to me that what I do makes a difference, and it doesn't make a difference if kids don't understand it. So I thought, well, I'll just write a couple lessons. And unfortunately, we had one of our students in my program pass away. She was 7. And we of course wanted to be able to teach the other students what we believe on a spiritual level, what we believe had happened to her. And so I wrote some words, and I knew exactly the illustrations that I wanted drawn. So I asked my friend Jihei to illustrate it for me. I told her exactly what I wanted it to look like, and she illustrated it, and she did beautifully. And we handed these stories out at the memorial service for our young friend. And we got amazing feedback that it was super helpful, not only for our kids with developmental disorders, but for some of our young peer models who were in our classroom, and also for some of the young people who were siblings or family members of the people who were in our program. And that really encouraged me, because I thought we had done something special as well. So we decided to write a few more lessons just to kind of illustrate the basics of traditional Christianity. And that turned into the CHIRP curriculum, which we worked for many years creating, and which is still developing and evolving as we expand to more churches and more students, and as I continue to use the curriculum in my own programming, and we have continued to make the curriculum more diverse as far as depicting a wider range of skin tones, and I'm really proud of that. That makes me really happy. All of those things make me happy, because of course when you birth something that is meaningful and that expresses the love of God to kids, it's exciting. It's something that's worth celebrating. That is what my life's work so far has been about. And that is why these 20 years of experience and this wide range of experience is what leads me to share some of my experience in this format online. Because I know that sometimes there are not professionals who are really super good at what they do in our local communities. And if there are, they're really hard to find. I come to bring hope. I come to share with you tips that are not difficult to comprehend or implement, tips that are not expensive, tips that do not require forcing your child to do things your child hates. I want your child to enjoy interactions. I want your child to learn during enjoyable interactions. And I want it to be fun for you too, at least mostly fun. So that's my story. I come to bring hope. I've dealt with a lot of kids. I have worked with a lot of families, and I love what I do. And I want to bring you and your family hope and creativity and fun in the way that you help your child's development. So, as we start out on this new journey of more YouTube videos from Minnesota this time, the next series I'm going to do, probably starting in the next video, is going to be how to work on your child's IEP goals or FSP goals at home. And these are the documents put together by public schools in the United States to write goals for kids and then to track those goals over time so that we can see the progress the kids are making. You should be getting a lot more family support when your kids are younger. The professionals should be coming into your home. They should be explaining what they're doing and why. They should be explaining how you can do those same things. Sometimes that doesn't happen, or you just need a little more backup. I'm going to have that included in these videos too. So, for example, our first video is going to be about the goal of greeting and taking leave of people. A lot of our students, especially those with autism spectrum disorders, do not naturally say hello or goodbye to people when they arrive and when they leave. And we need to work on that because greeting and taking leave of people is a very important social skill. Things like that. So, if you would like to participate in this exciting new series, please leave down below in the comment section. Please leave me one of your kids' IEP goals so that I can address that in upcoming videos. If you're a professional and maybe a special ed teacher, maybe another speech-language pathologist, and you've been working with a child and the way that you've been working on a particular goal doesn't seem very effective, leave that goal in the box down below and I would love to offer some suggestions about that. Sometimes the ways we work on goals don't necessarily work, and we need to come up with some new ideas. I hope you are having a great day so far. Welcome back to the Chirp YouTube channel. I'm glad you're here. Please subscribe if you would like to follow this new series, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.